It's Rich being easy again, and today's little task on the Corolla, now that it's 10 years old, is to do a coolant change. I'm also going to change the hoses. I know a lot of people don't do this, and it's probably okay not to do it, but I'm kind of an old guy, and we change hoses, especially the big ones. The small ones I'm going to leave alone. So the part numbers are 16571, 72, 73, and they all finish OTO40. So I am going to take the plastic off because it just helps get stuff out of the way, makes things easier for me. Quick shout out for my kids who got me this very handy little electric drill for Christmas. Nice. Now it saves on my arthritis. You just turn it a bit. Oh, and then you hit the button. Oh, yeah. Take that out. Easy. Love it. Thank you. On this little bit of plastic here, there's a clip that falls in and stops it coming out. You just like that. Comes out pretty easy then. So for this piece of plastic on the right side, there are a couple of bolts. One, and the other one's over that side. It came out. One more plastic rivet over there. Get that out and it will come off. Okay, this is the driver's side piece of plastic. Same story here. Okay, so on this side, you see the radiator drain is here. So this is on the left front of the vehicle. Bottom hose is here. So I've got much better access by taking the plastic cover off. There's this wonderful cross beam in the way underneath the drain valve, but I managed to get a piece of 5/16 clear PVC hose on the drain outlet. Went outside, went up the inside and got it on. A little bit of Vaseline goes on nicely. Yeah, the only tool I could find that worked were my fingers to open this thing. It's pretty tight though. Here we go. I'm going to catch it in this kitty litter tray. I did leave all the caps on, so I've got the radiator cap on. So hopefully it's going to suck out all the stuff from the expansion tank so I don't have to drain that. It is. You can just see the fluid dropping down out of this curved section. The full line is up here right at the top of this curved section. So it is sucking the fluid out of that. That's good. Right, then all of a sudden it started draining faster, as you can see. Yeah, it's emptied the tank, now it's sucking air through the tank, and the rest of the system is draining out. Okay, these clamps can be a bit of a bugger. They're, you squeeze them together to release the spring load, obviously, but they have a catch on them, so they can be held open. So I'm going to try that. This. Now, the trick I found, and I don't know if I can do it in this position, is to put a screwdriver in the gap and lever it over. And I think I've actually done it. Yeah. So I've levered it onto the back. See this catch? Yeah, usually these hoses are stuck pretty tight. So one of the methods I try and use is to get a crescent wrench on there and sort of twist them. If they'll twist, but if they're stuck, they're not going to go. So the secondary method, screwdriver, get it in there and start loosening it. See how far around you can get loosening it. I was able to get one of them off. This is kind of a handy tool. It's the old inner door prying tool. I was able to get that in there and give it a good twist. That kind of levered it, and then I grabbed it and it just pulled right off. Right, now on the hose that goes into the driver's side of the engine, there is this thing attached. I think the way to do it is to stick something in here, like a screwdriver, open it up, that releases the clip, and then you can pull this out, and the clip will come away with the hose, I hope. Something else is holding it. Oh no, there it goes. Alright, we're on the workbench now. We're going to transfer the clamps over. I had not noticed earlier, but they have different color stripes on them. And they're different diameters. This one is very slightly smaller than that one. So it's a good job I left them on the original pipe. This one's going to go this end, and the blue one's going to go this end. Okay, I need to transfer this to the new one, and looking at it, I see that there's a piece inside here that gets pushed through these two bits that stick out. So I think somehow I need to pull these side bits back. So one of these little wings snapped off on this side, but I still want to use this as much as I can. So I'll figure out a way to get it off. Yeah, well, that wasn't easy. That's what it looks like, and it goes in and it just catches. But one of the catches is gone, but it'll probably stay on. There's one reason to buy OEM hoses. They are an exact fit. There's a white line on this hose and a little lip that's sticking up right about here. It's just out of view of the camera. That's the alignment mark, so I went for that. It goes on a lot easier that way. Oh, still not all the way up. There we go. The hose is all the way up. There's a lip on this steel tube that's down there, and it's all the way up now. So here's that alignment mark. Here comes the preloaded clamp, so I'm going to set it right about there, and hopefully I can just release the Kraken. Oh, come on. Get it in a second. Bang, and it's on. Now I can get on here and move it a bit if required. I'm just going to move it this way a little. So it's behind the bulge in the tube. So that is the plan that I'm going to do with all the other ones. There's another one that's got to go here and underneath. And then of course the fun one, the water pump. Oh, that was a bear. So I was able to get that nylon clip back on. It worked in both places, even though one side of that initial one is broken. It's in there pretty strongly, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, this is the next hose to go back on. It's the number 3. This is on the driver's side, goes to the radiator from that little plastic hose adapter, the hose I just put on. This one, yeah, I've got to trap this one still. Fortunately, these are both orange dot clamps, so they'll fit the same way. Oh, and by the way, this goes on the radiator. This is the radiator end. This was one of the 3 clamps I couldn't preset while it was on the car. So what I have is I've got my torque wrench out here, and I've got an 1.25 inch socket that I've transferred. I just grabbed it with the crescent pliers, squeezed it up, and then transferred it to this so it's easier to work on. Saves a lot of snapped fingernails and fingers and whatever. Right, so I've got it up. I can get the screwdriver in from this end easier than I can the other side. Sorry. Oh, it's coming off. There it is. Okay, so that worked out fairly well. I was able to reach in from the top and get the radiator hose on down here, slide the clamp up, and then put this one on at this end. Didn't take long at all. I mean, that third one was a bear, especially to get off. I had to actually cut the hose from the top. This is the water pump end. This is the radiator end. I did release it at the bottom, the clamp. I'm going to release the other clamp from the top because it's easier to get to there. So first thing to fill is the expansion tank. Then I'll start filling the reservoir, the radiator. Yeah, this thing's got to be filled slowly, and then you have to do occasional squeezes of this top pipe. It helps get a lot of the air out of the system. Yeah, I was just filling up the car the old-fashioned way with just a funnel, but I was getting a lot of air traps. Had to look online, and lo and behold, yes, I'm using the wrong tool. You're supposed to be using one of these devices. It fits right on top of the radiator cap. Fill it up, start the engine and run it for a while. I've already squeezed the hoses to get most of the air to come through, and it did bubble quite a lot out, so I can see this is going to be very handy. So it just sits here while the engine's running. I have turned the heater on, which I didn't do last time. So I'm going to squeeze a hose real quick. Now I don't see any air coming, well, maybe a little bit of air, but not much. So the idea is you let it idle until it gets to the temperature, the mid-range temperature when the thermostat opens. There should be a few more bubbles when that happens, and then you're pretty much done at that point. Give it a few more squeezes on the hoses and you're good. I think I've just missed it with the camera. I think the engine's at for operating speed. I squeezed the hose and got a few more air bubbles out. See if I can do it again. No, there's a few little air bubbles there. So with this one, the next step is you just shut off the valve. I can now take this out and put it into that. Get the cap off and put the other cap back on, and we're done.